Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. So let's get started. Hey, what's going on, experts? It's Joel here. Welcome to another episode of Sold with Webinars. Guys and gals, we have a very, very special episode for you today. I just finished up my solo episode talking about a very unique funnel, a very unique mini webinar funnel that I've done, that I just completed for a client who has broken all sales and marketing records in our record books. Okay, I'm going to go over some of the numbers inside of this episode. Make sure that you stick around, but we talk about what one thing that we focused on that I actually got wrong that produced ridiculous application and strategy session and lead costs for him. I'm talking generating I don't even want to share the numbers with you right now. It's a short episode, so we'll get to it very, very soon. But I promise this is well worth your time. So if you want to figure out and you want to discover what really works in marketing, take a lesson from me. Take a painful lesson from me, because I honestly don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Being a little facetious, but also a little truthful in that, and you'll understand what I'm talking about in this episode. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Hey, what's going on, experts? Joel here. Popped in real quick today to give you an incredible podcast today, an incredible episode. I have something really, really important to talk to you about today. The past couple of weeks have just been absolutely nuts. And it seems like the more I keep diving in to marketing, like the world opens up, the more opportunities open up on our plate. And, marketing is this thing that you can never master. I truly believe you can never master it, because all of your assumptions at some point or another, and maybe this just goes for the idea of mastery in general, but the more I study something, the more I realize I know absolutely nothing about it, right? So if that's not kind of a preface for today's episode, I don't know what is. But what I want to talk about today is something very fascinating. Okay, so I want to explain something that I've learned working with a client who officially set the single highest performing record that I've ever had on any webinar or mini webinar campaign. And before I reveal their numbers, I want to kind of give you a little bit of backstory. And I promise you, you're not going to believe the numbers that I've shared with you. I actually have 2 clients to brag about today, and I'm going to focus on one of them because I know a little bit more about their story than the other. But here's what I want to talk about today. In the world of marketing, there are 2 angles in which you can approach to grab attention, 2 popular angles that most people believe in. You can lead with pain or you can lead with pleasure, right? I'm sure that's probably not anything new that you have that I'm telling you right now. But I want to ask you a question, and I want you to think about it. Okay, if I were to ask you, which one do you think would perform better in terms of responsiveness, right? Do you think leading with pleasure would generate typically a higher response, or do you think leading with a pain that somebody is experiencing would lead to a higher response? And I want you to think about that real quick. Ask yourself that question. Which one would you choose if you were given the opportunity? Leading with a pain or leading with pleasure? Prior to about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have said that leading with a pain would most likely give me a higher response rating, just because when, pleasure can come in all sorts of different forms in terms of advertising. But let me let you in on a little secret. I was working with a client, and we were launching a mini webinar for him, and we had finished it up. It was a private client. He paid us, 5 figures for us to build this mini webinar for him. And when we launched it, Obviously, we're very excited when we launch all projects, but there's always a little bit of uncertainty because you're launching something brand new. You don't know how it's going to perform, right? We could take our best guess and we could say, okay, cool. Like based on past experiences, here's what we're seeing in the marketplace right now. And we can make our best guess and best estimate on how it's going to perform. And usually when we write the ads, we take an angle of, do we lead with pain? Do we lead with pleasure? And we will usually write, for each. Well, so for this example, we led with pleasure or a sense of opportunity. And let me share with you this email that I got from my client. I'm going to leave his name out of it, but I want to share it with you. Joel and Brian. So I initially thought I would wait a bit before I quote unquote launched, but I did want to make sure that the ads were good. So I ran some test ads with all the variations you and Brian sent me and was pretty surprised at the results. Okay, here we go. 3% conversion to cold traffic with an average of 53 cents per click, which translated into $1.40 applications and $5.40 strategy sessions. Okay, this is awesome. This will be huge. We had 10 strategy sessions scheduled from just today on a $54 ad spend. The very first strategy session scheduled, I gave it to Alex, my sales guy, and we thought, well, since we're testing the ad, we should test the offer too. Guess what? He closed it, a $10,000 offer. Now, think about that for a second, okay? He spent $54, generated 10 appointments, and on the very first appointment, he he closed for a $10,000 sale. So this was sent about 2 weeks ago, and he sent me a follow-up email after that. And he said, we ended up closing 2 sales from those first 10 applications, and they shut the ads down. So they spent $54 in ads, and he closed 2 $10,000 offers. So he made $20,000 in sales from $54 in ad spend. And let me tell you, this is incredible, right? I mean, we get great results, but this is just absolutely through the roof. And I was a little surprised because we led with pleasure. And to kind of like go back and reconstruct this, right? In my mind, this is why I know Jack. What I'm going to tell you, I know Jack about marketing, right? I mean, I'm experienced in marketing, but like every time I think I know something, I get kicked sometimes it's a great thing. In this instance, I get kicked in the, I get kicked in the teeth a little bit. And, because I would have told you that I think that leading with pain is going to be a higher response rate. But with this type of ad, we led with pleasure and got great, fantastic, the best results I've ever seen with our mini webinar funnel. He generated applications for $1.40 each. Now, he followed up with me a little bit later and he said he did turn the ads back on and he got even better results than this first set. So like he's constantly just turning them on and off and just, absolutely destroying it right now. Like I was so excited when he came through and I told him on the phone, I'm like, dude, this is going to be a home run. And it turned out to be a massive grand slam. So what does this mean for you? Okay. Because I like to just bake in these lessons and make them tangible for you, whether you're doing webinars or mini webinars, right? You absolutely have to test whether you're leading with pain or leading with pleasure, because your market is going to respond differently based on their situation, right? Now, how do you determine what pleasure and what pain is going to be? Well, that's just all going to be tested, right? You have to figure out what is going to be working. Like that's why we always create, 3 or 4 different versions of ads when we launch new funnels for our clients. And leading with pleasure and leading with pain, we try both of those 2 angles. And depending on your market, I mean, this is just absolutely phenomenal results. And so it's funny, he's actually going to be flying into Lewiston for our next live event, which is coming up on the 24th and the 25th. And I'm excited to hear his update. Maybe I'll give you guys a status update after he flies in and we chat about it. But like I was just through the roof, through the moon, impressed with his results. Anyways, so I'm just completely baffled by how little I really know about marketing. So what I want you to do is I want you, as you go back and you start to develop your marketing, I want you to think about, do I lead with pain or do I lead with pleasure? Never assume what you think is going to be right will actually be right. Because I hope that you make the same mistake that I did and end up with a performance of $1.40 application cost and $5.40 strategy sessions. Because I promise you, you will become rich if that happens to you, just like my client has. So that's what I've got for you guys today. That is the big takeaway: is test which angle is going to work best for you, and I promise you will be pleased with the results. All right, that's what I've got for you today. Take care, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. If you're serious about launching your own sales webinar, here are a few resources to check out. For free access to the software that we built internally for the webinar agency to train our copywriters, head to soldwithwebinars.com to sign up for a free trial to the Webinar Vault and get access to regular webinar breakdowns that are generating hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one on your webinar project, head to thewebinaragency.com for more details. And finally, be sure to subscribe to my other podcast, Experts Unleashed, where I interview change makers and entrepreneurs to discover how they create opportunity to turn their expertise into income. Be sure to join us next time, and I'll see you there.